Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. A couple things to say about audio. As I mentioned, I'm sort of still working through how this new mic affects things, and on the whole, I think the sound is pretty good. There was some weird, sort of clanking noises in the last episode when I was looking around inside of the crew areas, and I thought, when I was listening over it the first time, that I had been very quietly bumping the mic or something and just hadn't noticed. But actually, no. It turns out that you can sort of hear me moving my mouse around like this when I'm, trying to. Normally, I don't have to move my mouse more than a couple of millimeters or centimeters or something to get to do all the stuff you need to do in KSP. I have my sensitivity turned up pretty high. But to look around inside of here, you have to move the mouse really far, and I was picking up my mouse, and that was what was... Anyway, so I'll try not to do that, because it's a kind of distracting noise, but I'll probably forget, so that's why. And the other thing is, I realized that the rocket sound is really loud, when we're burning this rocket engine. So let me just make sure that it did apply. I believe, I turned down the spacecraft volume to 25%. So I think that that'll keep everything else the way it was, but make the rocket quieter. I haven't actually tested it, but that's my belief. Anyway, so we left this person up in space in our new space station. And it's now time to build and deploy a ship to rendezvous with this one. There you go. Finish that sentence eventually. And I think I basically want to build the exact same thing that we just deployed, this, except that we will call it Space Station Fuel Transfer Vehicle. Because I just want to bring up some extra fuel. And so I wasn't sure whether the way to do that is okay, so what's the most obvious thing we could do? We don't need to carry up any more RCS fuel. There's already plenty on the plane, so let's just rip this off. We don't need most of these docking ports, so let's rip those off. We do want some RCS, for sure. There's another docking port. Get out of here. What is this? Oh, is this the solar panel? Yeah, okay. We shouldn't need any solar panels on this either, so let's pull those off. There's a docking port there to remove, although actually, why bother, right? Because what I'm actually going to do is... Let's see. What I want to do is briefly make this part here be the root so that I can pull off the stuff above it separately. And then I'll add a new upper module and make that the root again. So the question is, do I want to just deploy this with a small lander stage or orbital stage and just sort of assume that because I'm launching a smaller rocket, there'll be more fuel left over and we can transfer from this? Or should I add another fuel tank on top of this as the payload? Interesting idea. So what I wanted to do to think about that is, let's look at this fuel tank. How heavy is it? 36 tons. And what I wanted to do is see how heavy is the science thing we're not bringing up? 3 tons. And this pod, 4 tons. So a huge part of the mass of that last craft was in fact the fuel tank, which means that even if we didn't need any upper stage at all, this ship would still weigh about as much as the last one, and we wouldn't be saving that much extra fuel. So I think... Now, on the other hand, that means if we add another fuel tank, we'll be dramatically increasing the amount of weight that the rocket has to lift, so we'll spend quite a bit more fuel. But I think that's, like, fine. Right? So let's just, let's put another fuel tank in. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. So I'll add a decoupler here, so we can dump that stage when we're done with it. And another fuel tank, please. I mean, this is probably overkill. I could carry a smaller fuel tank or something. But I'd like to see what exactly we can do with all of this. And then just at the top, I'd like to have a Science Junior, ideally. So what I'm going to do is structural. Give me, where's my Rockamax adapter? Here it is. And at the top, we'll put like sort of our standard science-oriented vehicle here. We'll put a Science Junior in as the... Well, hang on. What should my decoupling look like? Yeah. It should look like this. I agree. Get on there. I have to zoom out. Is that going to help? Just go on. Like, how hard can this be? What do I need to do to convince you? Put it more like this, probably? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so basically this and this is all going to be the stage we dock with, and then we'll dump it all for a much more... a very small landing stage. I'll have to move the Rcs Thrusters as well. We don't want them on the stage we're going to dump. But, okay, we have this, and since I want to bring up 2 Kerbals, one to pilot the ship and one to stay on the space station, we're going to need a crew cabin. And finally, the command pod. Just a standard old Mark I command pod. And then we'll throw some more decorations on this, but that's the general idea. And we will, in fact, also want a decoupler here. And I guess we need a heat shield on this part. We shouldn't need a heat shield just for this, honestly. It's fine. Put a parachute on top. Alright, and now let's... there we go. Now we've made this be the top again, so it's behaving normally. This is definitely going to get a bit top-heavy, I think. But I don't know. We could put a mainsail on here as well. That reminds me. Let's unlock the mainsail, shall we? Save and continue. We have some science left, and one thing I wanted to do was unlock the mainsail. And I think that with a substantially heavier ship, the mainsail will be reasonably called for. There you go. Mainsail, liquid fuel. Cool. Now maybe we could put like the twin bore on instead. Like, what's the deal with that? It like has its own fuel tank attached somehow, doesn't it? Didn't I just unlock that? Oh, I'm not looking at engines. Here we go. Here it is. So it's sort of got 2 engines on the side, and comes with 2,800 liquid fuel built in. So how much is in one of these fuel tanks that we're lugging into orbit? The same amount. Okay. So this twin bore engine is basically one of these with engines strapped to it. But we want to carry up 2 of them and have a smaller engine at the bottom. Sure, whatever. So let's pull off this engine at the bottom and attach a mainsail. There we go. I guess we need some more science bits. We shouldn't really need like solar panels or communications. We should have plenty of energy to get to the space station, and then it'll provide all of that stuff. But we're bringing the science with us this time, so... Oh, and I haven't ever used any of these, this new... we just unlocked a couple of new science things. So what do these do exactly? So this scans the surface somehow? I don't know. It would be nice to, in some future stage, attach some of these to the space station. I don't know if these produce science or what. A survey scanner, I don't know. So let's put on first the stuff that we already know all about. What? No, stop. I'm like, it's real hard to understand zooming, apparently. I'll just put on a thermometer. Oh, snap, please. And a barometer, and like double-barreled mystery goo like we always do. Actually, we don't really need it double-barreled anymore. We just need one because you can't get double value from this thing. So I'll just put that on. Put a atmospheric fluid spectrovariometer. Oh my goodness, it's large. Put it right there. Hopefully that carries some new science parts with it. And I'm not sure what these are all about. It says science experiment. Collectible, yes. Rerunnable, yes. Resettable, no. So how does that compare to the Science Junior? It's not rerunnable, but it is resettable. So I guess this means you can just run it without having to reset it, basically. Whoa! Look at that thing! Wow! Alright, well that is for, like, it's some payload all on its own, huh? Okay. What about this? The surface scanning module? It's light enough, we could attach it. Just throw it on there? Sure. The main compartment bristles with science. Actually, we could put it somewhere a little bit more reasonable, the large stuff on the crew cabin, and just let that burn up in re-entry, basically. Maybe put it opposite the other thing? Sure. Fine. So this is... Oh, and what about this? It's also... Wow, it is quite large. We could maybe carry this up, but I don't really understand what these new science parts are for yet. Oh, this isn't a science. It's an orbital surveyor. It's not a science experiment. This is a science experiment. This is a science experiment. And this is a resource scanner. So that's a different thing for like when you want to build mining stations. Okay. Alright, so all of this stuff is fine. What else do we need? We need... Well... we probably need some command and control stuff. So we'll put a reaction wheel in this part. And we need some Rcs thrusters. Now for this, we want to know where our center of mass is. And I think we shouldn't really need our RCS to... what's the word I'm thinking of? To do attitude adjustments, to rotate. In theory, I think our reaction wheels should be enough to do that. And so, in theory, I think we could just attach these to the center of mass like we did on the last ship. Actually, I should be looking at the center of mass like this when we have just this part left. Because that's when I'll be using the RCS. I think. Maybe this will be still attached. I'm not sure. Can you deorbit using just RCS, or should we put like a bit of Obviously, it's conceptually possible, but like, is it a good idea? Or should I probably should put a little engine on this upper stage, huh? Interesting. I guess I don't really have to deorbit. I could just leave this junk floating in space until someone can figure out what to do about it. Maybe even leave it attached to the space station until such time as another craft comes along that that can dock and take it away. Which reminds me, speaking of docking, we don't want this parachute, after all. We want a docking port there, and we'll do like a radial mounted parachute for the return. So let's grab some coupling, put a docking port. I believe a docking port junior goes on this? Yes. Right, so we were deciding where to place the RCS thrusters. Command and control. Because, okay, so are we going to get into orbit and still have this stage with its engine attached? I kind of feel like no, probably not. And so I don't really think that our RCS is going to be able to make much adjustments to this gigantic ship's orbit. So I'm actually thinking that it was a mistake to decouple the bottom stage. It's slightly more efficient to like be thrusting with just this upper stage, but then we'd have to attach an engine to it, right? And that is tremendously less efficient, adding an extra engine. I think it's going to be more efficient to just keep this empty fuel tank. It's not going to be super heavy when it's empty, right? And it means we'll get to keep the mainsail for maneuvering, which will be nice. So given that, our center of mass is, well, this will be sort of empty-ish, so maybe the center of mass is around here. Given that, where do I put the RCS thrusters? Still not really sure. But I think maybe near the center of the craft would be okay, because we'll have enough maneuverability. But you can't ever really go wrong by putting them at the top and the bottom. That's where they get the most... they can apply torque best, so that's where they can spin you best. And as long as you have them mounted on both sides of the center of gravity, they can also do attitude control and not they can also do translation, not just torque. So we'll put the other one up here on the top, as far away from the others as possible and as close to the top of the ship. We need a fuel tank for the RCS. Maybe what's in this, like the monopropellant in this would be enough, but it wouldn't hurt to bring some more. We're still new to this. It shouldn't need much though, just like, I don't know. Ah, that's huge. Oh, these are all like pretty big. Okay, well we'll just take a small one like this, right? Another 50 in addition to the 10 that we're carrying. All right, 10's not very much. Yeah, let's just throw on 2 of these, make it 100, right? Nice even 100. So having 110 RCS fuel hopefully will be enough. And this upper stage is starting to look a bit unwieldy. I think most of these parts are actually physics-less, so it's not really a big deal, but it would be sort of interesting to try... Oh, it's under payload, that's right. If we could... No, like, I still don't totally understand how to use these things. So let's imagine we were to do this. Oh, so cool. Right? Look at that, looks so great. Wow. Okay. And then we don't need the adapter even, right? I don't know what happens when... When you deploy this, what happens staging-wise, like... Because this is sort of attached to a 2.5 meter thing, right? I guess you can just deploy the fairing and open it without separating it from the ship, right? And then we'll just have this bit to actually separate. That seems pretty cool. I guess it's done something to our staging, right? So let's zoom out and see what's happened. So first stage is this. Oh wait, what? What happened to these side engines? They should turn on at some point, right? Yeah, so bring them down here. Turn on both of the engines, then stage that. And this? No, I want this to be its own stage. Like that. Okay, cool. So, can I still fiddle with this stuff here? Like, I want to put a parachute on and so on, right? I think I can. Yeah. Just one, though. We don't need two. Oh, I love the idea of having this fairing going up to protect everything from atmospheric effects. Alright, is there anything else we're missing on this ship? Anything important? We've got all the science we need. I don't plan to need any antennas. Battery, again, decided we don't need that. Could be wrong. That would be an interesting thing to find out. Thermal, should be fine. Not going to be on the ground. Our aerodynamics are looking hot. Payload, yeah, we did that. Coupling, I think our coupling is all set up correctly. Structural, I bet this thing's going to tip over on, like, it's fairly well centered and balanced, but all the same, I would not mind having something to hold it up on the launch pad. So we'll just put that in the first stage together with turning on all the engines. We have a docking port on the top, right? Yes. Okay. Command and control. I think we have enough RCS. It won't make the ship... The ship is very heavy. So the RCS is going to have minimal effect. I may find out that it's just not maneuverable enough to attach to the space station with this kind of mass. But that'll be an interesting learning experience. So we'll see. And then we should have, obviously, more than enough fuel. We have the right pod. Okay. Any actions? No, not really. Crew? We want to drop Valentina off, so she's going to be the pilot. Oh, why are these backwards? I can't put her in the right one. It should have the command pod on top, but it doesn't. Huh. Do I need to tell this thing what is the route or something? Reroute all of this stuff to here. I can't set that as the route because it's... I don't know why. Is it because it's in the fairing? Forget it. Don't reroute. What happens if I get rid of the fairing? Delete fairing, I guess. And then I can edit it later, right? Okay. So can I now set the root of all that to be the no, because that because it already is the root, right? Yeah. So why won't anyone get in the command pod? If I sent 3 people, one of them would get in the command pod. I guess that's the way to do it, huh? You have to fill it from the top? Seems a little ridiculous. So let's send Bob and Bill, and then Valentina, and then take Bill back. Incredible. Okay, well that seems super dumb, but clearly I'm just not understanding something. And I want to build the fairing for this, which is really just going like straight up. Not doing anything very fancy. And just close over it. Come on. Like that. Okay, I think that this rocket is ready to give a try. It may have serious issues. You know what? Let's put... Oh, you know, we will need some batteries because using 2 of these large reaction wheels is going to probably draw quite a bit of power. And just in case, I think I will put a solar panel on to counteract that effect, so that in case we've overdone it. Yeah, I'll just put like a Z100 on I don't know, the crew cabin. Everything's going on the crew cabin basically, and some like moderately sized solar panels here. Sure, shouldn't really matter much where they go. But I'll make an action group for those. Action group 1, solar panels, toggle. Great. Save. Did it get the crew right? Is it still the same crew? Yes. Alright, let's try launching this again. I'm not sure really if this is going to do it or if we're going to need to be a bit fancier. The ship is a lot heavier than the last one, so I'm going to use more fuel from the liquid fuel for takeoff, I think. Be it like half throttle. And we have a more powerful engine as well, so and more fuel. So both of those things, I think, make this a reasonable choice. Just double checking the staging. Still not sure exactly how this works, but should be fun. When I right click, what options do I get? I just get deploy. Alright, so I think that means just throw it away. You know what, let's try it. Deploy. Great. It didn't like fall off the ship or anything. Cool, we're still piloting the whole thing. Okay, so let's not do that, of course, but rather revert to launch. And I want to... Can I not use the science vessel stuff because they're inside the fairing? That's a bit of a bummer. I was hoping to get to do some science on the launch pad and carry it up with me. But I guess that we will just do some science from low orbit and then high orbit, maybe? Something like that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's not a big deal that we squeeze out as much science as we possibly can. I just want a proof of concept for this sort of docking vehicle. So yeah, half throttle. And 90 degrees is to the right of the nav ball, which is fine. And since I'm going to be applying more fuel from this main engine, I'm going to try a bit more of a gravity turn. Maybe this will be a mistake. We'll see. Anyway, take off in 3, 2, 1, lift off. Ooh, that didn't look good at all. Revert flight to vehicle assembly. It looks like the fins were hitting these guys, huh? What if I just take these off? Is it going to stand up on its own? Yeah, we don't need no stinking structural support. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Yeah, a nice stately pace compared to previous launches. Well, actually, it's about the same. So I'm going to try turning a bit here, as I mentioned. See if... Oh, look, there's the orbit of our space station. Amazing. See if that's something that this stage can sustain. This more... Yeah. Okay, so it still wants to... Actually, we're probably going to be a bit top-heavy, aren't we? Because I added a ton of stuff to the top. I don't know, I kind of have the fuel tanks at the bottom and the top, so... I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine. Yeah. Looks like we've made it to about the end of our solid rocket boosters without tipping over, so that's good. I'm going to just lean over to the right, preparing a gravity turn before we get rid of this stage. And let's have a look at our apoapsis here. 84? Alright, so let's tip over a bit. The ship is struggling to do that. But that's fine. I'll just let it drift. Don't need to get there quickly. We just need to get there. And start pulling it back now. All right, I think SAS can take care of it once we get to here at this this rotational speed. There we go. And let's just start a burn to widen our apoapsis a bit. We have, as you can see, a whole giant pile of fuel. And an apoapsis that is out of the atmosphere. So, great. That's more or less what we wanted. And our heading is 91 degrees, which is pretty good. I'm not sure if I should be adjusting up or down. I think like this, right? No, that's the wrong way. Down here? There we go. Alright, so we're now a minute and a half from apoapsis. I think that this is good enough. And I'll, for now, and I'll put a maneuver node here to finish it off. Let's actually not try to meet with the space station right away. We could, but I'd like to give us a little bit of wiggle room. Just get into a circular orbit. 104 by 105. That looks pretty good. Deploy the solar panels, please. Yeah, there they go. And we're kind of in the dark, I guess, so it looks like our electric charge is still going down, but not by a lot. It's fine. And we've used up a ton of the fuel, by the way, as you can see. Let's get this as close to apoapsis as possible. Just there. Let's focus on Kerbin so that it stops wiggling around so much. Oh gosh, what am I doing? I'm pulling on the radial node. Cancel. Alright, well, we know we want about a 19-second burn, and we want it to be prograde. So I'll try to fix the maneuver node in time, but if I can't, we'll just do a prograde burn, and it'll be fine. Okay, there we go. Point to the maneuver. And go. And again, we're just aiming for a roughly circular orbit. We'll meet up with the space station later. There we go. Looks good. SAS off. Destroy the maneuver node. And I should have remembered to deploy the fairing and do some science earlier, but I forgot. Oh well. So I believe if I press space, that'll deploy the fairing. But I want a quick save in case I don't understand things. Let's press space. Incredible. Welcome to space. Okay. So let's do all the science that we can. The mystery goo. Yep, great. The barometer, the thermometer, this crazy atmospheric fluid spectrovariometer. Can't be done because we're not in atmosphere. Very funny. Well, fair enough. And the materials bay. Great. Yeah, EVA disabled, the hatch is blocked. Fine, we can do that later. And let's also get a crew report. We should already have this report, but, you know, whatever. That is, the other ship already has these reports, but I'll do them anyway. So now comes the exciting part of maneuvering to encounter the space station. And you may recall we went and tried to maneuver to encounter, way back in the contracts mode game, we tried to encounter a Kerbin who was, Kerbal, I should say, who was lost in orbit. and had a lot of trouble with it. I went through the tutorial since then, and I still had some trouble. But I've done a few maneuvers like this, like I rescued someone from the orbit of the moon, actually, and while in some ways I did things quite wrong and nearly blew up the ship, I did actually get the person out of there in time. And I've figured out from the docking tutorial some things that I think ought to work, so I'm optimistic that we can get to the space station, but not 100% confident. I might very well mess things up. However, it's taken us a while to finish building the ship and get it into orbit, so that is all going to go in the next episode. I'm really starting to think maybe I should stop building ships on camera. It seems to take up a lot of the time, but I don't know. Maybe you guys like it. It's educational anyway. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.